bitter. At science, they taste broccoli different. Yeah, so I think Hong is going to come in and talk about how science explains that broccoli tastes very different to different people. Yeah. Yeah, I think a majority of us here is going to be okay with broccoli because we're all Asian, I'll be honest. Broccoli is amazing. Cauliflower is criminal though. Cauliflower is like the cheap coward's version of broccoli. It's very weirdly, it tastes great, but the texture is like very plain and taste is almost not there. Okay, Mr. Boone says that we are ready to stream. Boone, yeah, let's just stream immediately lah, and I'll go there and I'll check whether the stream is working, and then we'll start the AMA immediately. And I think for Jen, Jen and Denice, you have a presentation. You have presentation slides, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay. I don't think the Facebook stream is gonna be able to see the slides. That's fine. I don't think they need to see it, but the students will be able to see it lah. So could you maybe put in the Google link for the slides into the chat, maybe a viewer's link rather than a editor's link, so they can just look at it?
I was just wondering if I could just share screen.
Yes, you can. You can screen share the slides as well. That'd be great.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We'll wait for your screen share. I'm gonna check out the page and see whether our live stream is going well. The OWM games. Okay, 6 minutes ago. Okay, so this is definitely the one we're looking for. I think I'm going to delete the last one because the last one didn't work really well. Okay, let's see what's happening there. Yep, okay. We are definitely being live streamed. I hear myself, and I already regret my voice.
Fine. In fact, I think you're probably the clearest sounding one among three of us.
Thank you. Thank you. I spent money on this microphone. That's why. Oh gosh. Okay, yeah. Okay, it definitely works. Let's just delete the last live stream. And then we are set. Okay, I will let Boone monitor the rest. Cool. Everybody who is here on the Discord, you can go over to Jan's screen share and double click on Go Live, and you'll be able to see the slides have been presented. I think we have less than 50 people in here, so we can definitely all go on the Go Live with no issues. For those who are on Facebook, you will not be able to see the slides, unfortunately, but we will. I think we can post the slides up later on for you to look at on the UOWM Games page. In the meantime, you'll be hearing us doing audio only due to our streaming limitations for today. Yeah, so Jen, without further ado, you can take it away and introduce us to what you're going to talk about today with Denice. I do want to make an introduction. Apologies, I do want to make an introduction because it's a new video for everybody. Today we are featuring Jen Wong and Denice Heng from Art Descartes. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Jen is a 3D artist, along with Denice Heng, who is a Snaps art lead from Art Descartes. For those who don't know what Snaps is a sort of a project. It's a prototyping asset project from Unity, which is a huge game development engine that you can use a little online. A lot of professional game devs use it. You have seen multiple games using Unity. Any game you play, definitely one of them will use Unity. And Snaps is one of those projects that really helps game devs use assets to form their games. So they're both on that team that does these things. So they're going to talk to us today about their experience with international clients, along with their career paths and what's been like for them to work for the past few years. Jen, Denice, are you both ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Okay. Hello to everybody as well. And let's start up.
So hello everyone. Excuse me.
It's okay. Take your time with it. We don't need to be professional here. I know I like sound really weird when I speak like that. And it's a little bit weird also, but you can talk casually. We're just here to like chat and talk about stuff.
Okay. So hi. I'm actually not sure what AMA stands for.
It means ask me anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the funny thing when I think I messaged you both on Facebook. I think that was the funny thing was that I don't think I explained what AMA was. I kind of assumed that you knew.
okay. That makes a lot more sense. Oh my gosh, it's too early.
Yeah, it's so early on the Saturday. We moved times for everybody's sake, but it's still Saturday.
So hi, I'm Denice. Uh, so I've graduated May last year. Actually, it was not too long ago. But the I do think like my internship feels a bit like part of the time that I was working. So it does feel more like a year and a half. So Jan joined about the same time as well.
Yes. Uh, Dan was in first. Like you started with snaps earlier, like a month earlier than I joined.
Yeah. So I am the Snaps art lead. So outside of that, I would be doing normal 3D art because do have other projects and I would have to jump on and work with those as well. But technically, if I am working with the Snaps project, it would just be going in to make sure that the requirements or the standards that we set are met. So it would be also guiding some of the team or some of the vendors and also doing the modeling and the prepping for the packs.
Oh, we have a few disconnects, but I think we're still good. Yeah, we're still good. We're still good. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jen, 3D artist, but basically, whatever comes to the studio, like we'll just get it done, kind of thing. I don't know what else to say.
Would you say you're like a generalist? You're like a generalist artist among your team then, or do you
We're-
only work on 3D?
I think we all are generalist artists.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a very big mood for a game artist. I feel.
I would think that for we might have different strengths, but when work comes onto the table, we usually would try and see if everyone can do it.
Okay,
So there's a lot of it. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's very interesting for our students as well because a lot of them always assume. I think it's assumed from the beginning that a lot of artists have like specialized roles in the office, but it's good to know that like you still do generalist work as well to like make the team kind of smooth out with each other. Right, that's what you do, right? You work in a team and you generalize all. You basically just like split your tasks between each other. Do you have any specialties though?
Studio itself, Michael's question, we actually, here we go. We mainly do art assets and we do a bit of support for Unity snaps.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that okay, to pronounce the name, it's actually Art Descartes. It's French, but if you want to pronounce it, I guess the Spanish way, if I'm not wrong, the Spanish way, then Art Descartes is correct as well. So the name itself actually came from the guy who invented the Cartesian plane. That's why his name was René Descartes. So the Cartesian plane was also named after him. Okay. Skipping back to what we do. So we did start with snaps. So a lot of things that we do, the art assets is all actually snaps. So it's mostly what we're doing for most of 2019. Um, the support side, because we started on snaps and we essentially started with we made the standards, we put the standards there, we put in the requirements there just to because we started with the first design. So when it comes to support, we do give that, which is when other vendors came in to work on snaps as well. We would be there to assist them or guide them. We would provide feedback, so we would have to do the QA, and then we would go back to them and tell them like, okay, maybe do this, or this could be fixed if you do it in a certain way. And aside from that, for support, we also do some technical consultations. So we do have someone who's very knowledgeable about the way Unity works on our team. So he would go in and give advice if we are involved in a project or if they need help with certain things.
Oh, we have more questions coming in.
Can't see the chat. I'm trying to figure out how am I supposed to get out of the live.
I think okay. So I think what we can do here is that we can go through your presentation first because I see that we're going to talk about snaps a little bit more, and we're also going to talk about your work in teams as well as like out of UOWM. So maybe we can go through the presentation together, and maybe we can ask some slide questions, and then after that we can tackle the big questions that are in the chat.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we just left off talking about what snaps is, right, and like what your studio does. Is my mic going through? Okay, I hope my mic is going through. I thought my mic wasn't going through for a moment.
Sorry.
Jen, is this the slide I'm supposed to be on, or?
No, I'm trying to figure out how to go back to the chat because I can't see the questions. So they just
no,
go.
it's okay. It's okay. We don't need to do the questions on chat yet. We'll do that later. I'll read out the questions for all of you later on. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think we just left off with talking about what it's like to work in your studio, right?
Or what our studio does, really.
What your studio does,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So, actually, we can move on to the next slide.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Okay,
keep going. It's okay. Yeah.
Go into snaps. Okay.
No, previous.
Previous. Okay, coming.
So, for this particular project, what happened was that we were actually tasked to go in, work to make the block out and the prototype assets. But because that it was our boss, so our boss was there, and because he knew so much about how Unity works, he stepped in a lot and he gave a lot of advice, technical advice. So in the end, he kind of became like the go-to guy where, you know, if you have a problem with when we were working on this project or what can or cannot be done, he would be there and he could give um, advice on how to do it. And eventually he became the person who uh, integrated the art, audio, and the code for this one, and even set up the character controller for the Kirin here. So yeah, I would say it's just more like because we have someone who knows what's going on, so that's why the task of being a support, it just happened pretty naturally.
Will you say the role of support is a little bit like you're basically just problem solving and you're just going wherever the problem is going to bring you then?
Yes,
Yeah,
I would
pretty
say
much.
it's it's um it's just that every time that there's a problem that comes up, we would just go like, okay, cool. We would try to figure out what's going on, and we would just go and tinker and try to figure out what went wrong and actually provide a solution.
Yeah, I think that's like a really interesting part about both your roles, right? Because when we came into today's AMA, people the way they think of game artists, they usually see a person who sits in an office and they essentially just churn out either assets or art. But the way you're talking about in the perspective you're bringing here is also that you're not just people who make art, you're problem solvers. You're technical. You're doing technical advice and technical support. So I think that's very interesting. Like so. If we were to talk about your work, right, how much technical support do you, how prominent is technical support, do you think, in your work as an artist?
Of a lot of the technical support would come, like, let's say if we're setting up the snaps pack and something might go wrong. So it really depends on if something goes wrong. So
Yeah.
so at this the way that it works is that from production all the way to shipping, even after shipping it, we would just see if there's anything wrong. If like the materials are turning pink, or if we need to change it to a certain thing, and we have to go in and try to figure out if there's anything that can be done about the problems that arise. So I would say maybe 20% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I personally feel like I do a lot of more QA than Denice does. Like most of the time.
I think so we got two different perspectives here from
Yeah.
both a lead and a 3D artist as well about like how much psycho work gets integrated into your stuff. Actually, yeah, from Jen. So like how much support do you do like on let's say like on a daily basis if you're good at a project? How much support do you do usually, and like what does it look like from your perspective then? Because I think so far we talked about integrating art code and audio and such, and we talked about troubleshooting like textures or things going on with code. But what's it like from your perspective usually?
So troubleshooting from my perspective is usually trying to get the snaps packs to a certain standard of quality.
Mm-hmm.
And because we work with other vendors, we do have to quality control the packs that come through our door. And so I would be writing feedback documents a lot.
Ooh, okay. I think it's also like that's a majority of your work of most of your work, right? You're either like you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you're mostly either making the snaps prototyping assets, or you're essentially you're checking through everybody's else's assets as well, making corrections. If I like, am I hearing this correctly?
Yep, basically.
Okay.
So I would say like 1/3 of my work is quality checking people's assets.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's also something that our students might not realize as well, and game developers, people who are not game developers might not realize as well, is that again, right, game artists usually they seem like they sit at a desk and they just churn out art every single day. It's either concept or 3D art, or they're on Blender, they're just making new stuff. But I don't think people realize that game artists are also part of QA, and they're also part of testing as well, because they have the knowledge for it. Yeah, yeah. Can you tell us more about snaps then? I think that's on your next slide as well, right?
Yes. Then, please.
Talk about it.
Yes.
Yes, we're being so fancy.
So so we were the one who came up with what snaps is. It has evolved a lot. Someone asked, "What can you like a quick way to explain what it is?" So it's kind of like Lego with art assets. So we're trying to make it easy for users to just snap everything into place, so the prototyping is a lot faster. The way that it was designed as well is actually the snaps pack is not for artists, it's for people who are not doing art. So even the way we make the assets, it's trying to be not as like easy for non-artists to understand. So one of the things that might be a bit unique to the snaps pack is that you usually when you build like a wall, you would just make a plane, because that makes sense, and that is the most technically you use the least polys. But the way that we build everything, we make them into blocks so that it's easy for non-artists to understand what they're building with. And the way that it was supposed to work as well, because when it started as a prototyping asset, is that you use these assets to replace your gray boxing. So when you are building your environment, you understand what you're looking at. And also, the moment you build everything, you build your environment, you can just pass it to an artist and say, I want it to look like this. And they would understand what's going on, instead of just seeing blocks everywhere and going like, that's a table, that one's a chair. I know it doesn't look like it. But here we have the assets, and when you use it, you would understand what you're looking at immediately. So that's like the start of how it came up to be.
Yeah, and I think also what's something very interesting here is also that like Snaps prototype is legitimately like a global use asset, was really popular on Unity, right? It's something that like a lot of developers are using. It's something that we didn't really have. I would definitely say like 10 years ago, this was not a thing that anybody would have expected to have immediately. The idea that you can just grab props and assets so quickly and put it into your game and actually see what it looks like, rather than just do like plain gray boxing, right?
So it's, I would say, mostly targeted towards non-artists. So usually when we see people use it, they mostly do level design with it. So it's like cool. It's being used the way it's supposed to be used. So the way that you use it, you just need to have ProBuilder and ProGrid installed. So ProGrid is the snapping bit, and then oh wait, we don't need ProBuilder now. But the assets are built using ProBuilder, which is Unity's built-in modeling tool. Most of it was built in ProBuilder, for the ones made by Art Descartes. So all these stuff was picked up as well, learning new tools to make stats packs. We currently have 19 packs, so we did not make every single one from scratch. There's also 2 free packs. One is the sci-fi, and there is a office. So if you guys like to try it out, you can. You just need to go to the asset store and look for snaps. And there's the 2 free packs up there. So yeah, those were our 2 first packs.
Yeah, that's right. Anybody who is working on Unity right now, go into the Unity store and grab the Steps prototype as quickly as you can. Enjoy Jan and Denice's work along with your team. Yeah, I think this is also something that I think we spoke about a little bit, and you spoke about it a little bit as well. What is the difference exactly between using Snaps assets versus say just doing plain gray boxing, right? Because I can see, like, I can definitely tell there's a huge difference, but I would like to know. I think for the sake of students as well, like, what do you think the big difference here is between just traditional gray boxing versus using like these full-on assets, just putting them in immediately?
One of the things is it all looks like what you want them to represent. So let's say if it's a chair, there's a chair. The other thing is, so with gray boxing, you're still building the level yourself. Here, we're giving you the assets, and what would happen is that everything would also fall together really easily because we've made sure that the assets, or at least the very least, the structure assets, which is the stuff that makes the walls, the floors, or the buildings, to fall together really easily. So it's a lot. I would say that it's a lot faster in a sense if you want to make a whole environment and still make it look pretty at the same time. Versus if you do gray boxing, what could happen is that you build your environment, but there's still a lot of stuff that you need to explain instead of just going like, "This is my environment," and people understand what's in it.
Yeah, I think that's also the really cool part, right? Is that like you allow non-artists to do this and do it so quickly. Yeah, cool.
Jeremy asks,
Mhm.
how do you stay motivated if you don't like your progress?
Jeremy's asking the hard questions today. Actually, I think there's a double maybe there's a double one, maybe there's a double question here actually. For I think so far we've seen Snaps prototype as churning out assets and doing quality testing, but how exactly, and you spoke about standards as well, but how exactly is it that you measure the standard of a Snaps prototype or any projects come in front of you, and B, like how do you feel and how do you tackle it when it's not up to standard, right? Like how do you have to like cope with the idea that like you're not making progress?
Jen, you want to go first?
Actually, one more thing. with Michael's question above the work life in the studio, we have a question down there in a later slide. So I'll get back to you on that. I do things for myself, I guess. Like side projects that I like. Yeah.
Yeah. So like what kind of side projects do you do for yourself then? Like when you're not making progress, how does that help you exactly?
Partially, I feel like I'm trying to improve myself. At the same time, I'm also making something for myself, and it's not just for professional sake.
Mhm. So would you say it like helps you take your mind off things as well?
Kinda, yeah.
Mm, okay. Yeah. I think that's something that like a lot of people do as well. It's actually really really good for you. Are you saying?
But when I do these things, I usually try not to have too much expectations that I would deliver at a certain time. It just stress me out even more.
Yeah. When you do art for work, so the only way you can relax is you gotta do art for art without feeling it like it's work.
Yeah, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Denice, what about you then?
Usually I'll just go off and watch some movies or something that would actually numb my mind.
Just I do not see.
I would say that to start off with, the Snaps pack was actually very interesting. So there wasn't a lot of stress. It was just more temporary stress when you are trying to get things done. But over time, I did pick up some hobbies over the MCO, also just to give me something to um, like something to break free from work. So you don't think about work.
Yeah. I think we have a very I think we have a funny comment from Andrew, one of our one of our students here, and they just said you can't feel demotivated, you can't feel anything, which yeah I guess you need to distract yourself, right? It's healthy to watch things and just give yourself more time to do things. Yeah, yeah. Shall we move on?
Wait, there's
Oh yes.
you asked what the standards for Snaps is.
Yes, I did. Oh man, I
Right.
forgot my own questions. Yeah, I wanted to ask when you spoke about standards for your Snaps prototype in the office, how exactly do you measure those standards on your end?
So, to start off with, there are certain things like making everything in blocks. And using ProGrids because it's a snapping tool. We would snap everything to like 1 meter, and then it goes down to like half. So it goes zero point 0.5, 0.25 meters. So that was one of the first things that we said, which is if you want to build using snaps, you have to use this half snapping thing, which can be a little weird for some artists to start with because when you work with other modeling tools, the snapping doesn't go down like that. But because of that's how ProGrids work, and it's easy for you to just hit the minus and plus keys to go up or down your snapping value. So that was what we set. And when the other thing is also making sure to cap anything that the player would see, sorry, the user would see. So uh, the same thing where you have walls where they're made of blocks instead of just planes, because then you would just see the back face, and some people might be like, it looks really hard to figure out what's going on in the level when there's so much stuff going on and you're met with all this back facing and your assets doesn't look like it's there, but actually there's something there. Um, so we would actually go in and make sure to test all the assets just to see if they fit these standards. The
Would you?
other thing,
Oh yes, keep going. Sorry.
the other thing that we've also done for Snaps is that the way that your folder is arranged, because all this assets is going out to users. So I was supposed to talk about this afterwards, but it's fine. I'll say it now. The the difference between making stuff for users versus making stuff, let's say for a game. So users won't go in, like players won't go into a game and go like, "Ooh, what is this asset named?" or "How does this asset work?" But when you're given, when users get your assets, they'll actually go in and look at how stuff is made. Um, and if your naming is all over the place, it's going to be very confusing for them. If your folders are all over the place, it's going to be very confusing. So we make sure that everything is done neatly. So also like the way that prefabs are set up, we make sure that it's done properly. That it's not going to be like, oh, I want to find out how to use this prefab, and suddenly there's just like a whole bunch of weird stuff in your prefab that you don't need. So a lot of it's making sure that those kind of standards are met. So we would actually go in and go like, hey, this stuff is set up really messily. So do go and follow like the standards that we've set, which is the one with easy for users to navigate and work with.
One more thing, Gularis is snap, remove half, like Thanos.
Oh no! Oh
we,
no!
we actually have a button that removes all and replace it with whatever HD like HD assets you have.
Oh wow, that's really really good. Oh my gosh.
Yes, so you can block it up in the prototype assets, and then there is the HD version, and just press one button and snap, everything replaced.
Oh man, I think I think you're going to make a lot of students in the chat going like, "Wow, I wish I had this much earlier."
I would
Yeah.
say maybe a bit expensive for students,
Oh yeah, it's definitely it is definitely pricier. Yeah.
but for people who are building something, let's say if they want to make their own game, it's actually quite worth it because we've had a discussion before. Of course, people will be like, $99 for this pack. What's going on? But when you look at it, like one of the construction site packs, they have so many vehicles there, and it's like all like HD, like they're all high poly models, and you have LODs, you have textures. So like there is a lot of assets there, and if you paid someone to make it, it would cost way more than $99.
Yeah, I do also want to mention to people like, who are here thinking about pricing, right? Even if it's $999 or $99, it's only going to be 500 ringgit or like 50 ringgit at best, which is honestly, if you really think about the utility of it, and I'm assuming these also stay for quite a while, that's really really good for game development. That's a very very good asset to have in your own repertoire.
The other thing you could look out for is also the sales.
Yeah, you can also yeah, there's definitely sales. Yeah, I think we can continue on now. We have a few more questions, but I think we can talk about that later on as well.
Right, so based on the questions you sent us on, I think, Thursday, we've actually made some slides and cut them into a few sections, and we'll be answering them. But like any questions coming in, we'll answer them along. But like if you have something that you want to ask us at the end, we have another, we've allocated another slot for that.
Thank you very much. That is very very cool of you both. Thank you.
Do we have the time actually? Because like I realized
We're on 12:48, but the way the GameDev AMA works is that we're not really on a stringent schedule. I run this in a very casual form. We can definitely go over time a little bit, right? Because I know that everybody here really really wants to hear this as well. Anybody that's in the chat, you can also reaffirm Jen and Denice by saying yes, please give us more. But yeah, keep going. It's completely fine.
All right. Okay.
So the first question for school versus work, did we jump straight into game development after graduation? I did. I started doing snaps. Actually, I found snaps in my internship, so I started working there, and I never left. So, but I'm not sure whether I would stay because sometimes I do get doubts about whether game development is the one for me. So, would I try other career paths in the future? Maybe.
For me, I I jumped into games right after graduation, as Art Descartes was kind of like where I did my internship. But I wanted to do other stuff before, and I guess to me it's not so much about the product that I'm making. It's the environment that I'm making it in, and the people that I surround myself when making it. So game dev is, yeah, I'll continue for a few more years.
This next question is, what skills from your time in KDU
Yeah, I
have
think
you
there was one. Yeah, that's the most common question every student always asks there. They always like to ask, what? So like, I think we were talking about school versus work, right? What is it that you took, or what skills do you learn in UWM that like, really transferred well into your job experiences, or what is it that you still rely on, from your time studying that you think has really progressed well or developed well when you went to work?
part as an artist is the skills that we picked up, the basic skills that we picked up, 3D, 2D. So understanding how to create assets, stuff like making sure it's not too high poly, some sculpting, texture. So a lot of it is art based for me.
What about you, Jen? Yeah.
Uh, it's predicting how much work I can get done. It's like like if you give me a task, it's like looking at it and says like, okay, give me 3 hours, I'll get back to you in that time. And like being able to tell the team and like being able to communicate it clearly, I think that's what's very useful.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think I also see in your slides as well. You also answered one of the questions that every student asks, which is they want to ask, what is it about working versus say doing projects and work in say UOWM, right? Like when you go from UOWM doing projects and work in a team to say doing projects and work in a team at work. What is the big difference that you immediately feel? And I can already see your answer in your slides, but I would like you to tell the students as well.
What's the biggest difference working in a project
At work.
at work?
Yep. Versus say at UWM.
There's a lot more at stake, I would say. There's like if you don't deliver, clients will come hounding.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not even
Yep.
clients compounding. Sometimes you would have that sort of huge dread that you're letting people down, you're letting yourself down, you're
Oh yeah,
letting your
true.
company down, yeah, and you're letting your clients down. So
Mm-hmm.
you're trying not to let that happen, and you're also getting paid. So it's like all wrapped in one. There's a lot more at stake.
This is a huge mood for every game developer when you realize that you are emotionally attached to your work.
There's a thing where our boss likes to say, it's like you don't look at people of how they're doing at school, because the moment they come out of work, things actually change, because again, you start to do it because um there's just so much more behind it versus if you just did it for schoolwork, and then maybe sometimes you can get away with like not doing your best. But at work, it there's just that domino effect you can of like all the bad feels.
Yeah. Will you actually? You did mention right that your supervisor and your boss spoke about how in school you can't really see how they perform till you get new work. Will you say the internship like right after your WM, your internship placements? Do you think they really helped you understand these things, or did they really help you say check on how suited you are for work? Actually, I think a better question is how did your internships help you in this process then? I hope.
That
Okay.
yeah. For me, I would think that if you don't view your internship as just an internship, like it's part of school work that you just need to get done, then you would understand how it's like. like to actually you get a taste of how it is to do game development as a job instead of as a student.
And for Jen, what about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same answer.
Cool. Okay. We have more questions as well, but I think would you like to keep on talking about your slides? I think.
Actually, I would like to address Jeremy's question. How do you find your first job in game dev after graduation? I interned in the company I am still currently working in, but I've been told a lot of game companies do portfolio reviews and events and stuff. So if you attend any, then you get a chance to speak to them about what they're hiring for. And sometimes it doesn't have to be the number of years of experience. You could be doing the same project for a whole year and then call it as a 1 year experience, or 3 years, same project for 3 years and call it a 3 year experience. But really, you're only doing that one small bit.
Yeah, I think there's also a related question as well to what you just said regarding portfolios. How if you were to give them if you were to give them all the general like a tips or general list of things to do, then how do you think they can raise their portfolios? How do you think they can make themselves a lot better for say getting their first job in game development, more appealing as a intern?
There's something that actually during when I was graduating and I was going out with my portfolio, it was the same thing. So there was a moment in time where our assignments, if you just put up your assignments, some of them you get the same theme. For example, for some of the artists you might know, we do the goblin modeling. I don't know whether you guys still do that, but everyone had the same goblin. And the moment you look at it, and especially like you have two of the same-ish projects, let's say you have the AK-47 and then you have the goblin, people will be like, oh, that's a student. And I know that all the work that they've done is just assignments. So one of the main things I think to set yourself different from the rest is that your portfolio should look different from the rest of your peers. Even better, I would say what you should be doing is, even though you're a student, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to student work. You should be trying to reach to the same level as how professionals are, or at least like the same thing of aim for the moon, you fall on the stars.
Yeah, I
It's
think
yeah.
I'm gonna give them some haunting words here and say, remember what Mr. Shern said about your portfolio and fundamentals of game development. Remember, you need to work on your portfolios.
I might actually come around and contradict that.
Oh, okay, yeah, yes, Jen, come on, yes.
Right. So there's a GDC talk. It's called Concept Art is Dead, and he basically uses like your career paths, so like climbing mountains. So the top of the mountain are like your art gods kind of thing. So you've got one mountain, you've got like say Hideo Kojima. The other side you have like somebody who was working on Spore and say like with Will Wright and stuff. They are very different mountains, and how you design your portfolio and how you choose to specialize in your like how you dedicate your time into portfolio making is going to get you into different mountains. So I wouldn't say there's one sure way to get somewhere, but just know where you're getting and then tailor yourself towards that.
Yeah, I think this is
If that's what you are aiming for, or if you are like Joe and I, our boss, we are more like try everything kind of thing. So we may never, I would say we may never reach peak, or maybe we'll reach a peak, but it's not like godlike peak. But it's what we choose to do.
yeah, this
Uh,
I think this is coming from for those who are curious, this is I think Shadi Safadi, I think from GDC. You can look it up. Concept art is dead.
Yeah, 1 pixel, I think it's called.
I think your point is really good. You should tailor your portfolio based on what you are aiming for. So let's say, for example, you have companies that do all the high poly art workflow. You have LODs and stuff. So you need to be able to show them that I can do the stuff that you want me to do. And like if you come to us and we do snaps, we are not going to expect you to do everything at super high poly. We would actually prefer if you have a good command with just basic 3D stuff, and maybe even good artistic there's a word for it. It's not skill.
Sensibilities?
Yeah, sensibilities.
Yes, the
I think
fancy word we always use.
yeah, we would appreciate that. Because we build environments, and it's a good plus on your belt.
How will you explain art sensibilities then in layman terms, like really quickly?
You know how to put something together that looks good. It's it's like you do need certain basic understanding of how colors work with each other, how to light your scene or your work, how to bring focus to a certain area. So if you know some of these things, it actually will help you improve your artist sensibility.
Would you say it's like a combination of? It sounds like the way you say it. Would you say it's like a combination of both instinct as well as knowing the basics then, and your like your foundational stuff?
So instinct is like having, I guess, talent, but everyone can be able to achieve the same thing if they knew the basics. Then you can eventually build on it. Make sense?
Yeah. Give me a moment. Yeah, we had a unmuted student. Okay. Yeah, I think that's something also that like a lot of game artists. I think especially in your first year, right, it might not be very obvious yet. Is that you kind of think like game art is like a textbook, and then later on it becomes more like a skill or like something a muscle in the hone. I guess if that makes sense as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Michael, I agree with you. I think it's partially how I got my job.
Yeah, what did wait, hold on, Michael, what did I say? Yeah. So Michael did just say, do your own work outside of the classroom for portfolio. Yeah. This is general advice for all students. From design lecturer to design students as well. Please do your own work when you have the time, because you can't just rely on assignments. Assignments are great from UWM. We do our best to raise your skills, but again, they're to raise your skills. You need to be able to find your own outside studies as well to learn what you really, really like and learn what you really, really want to do. Yeah. Mr. Brunos is saying this as well. That's why you join Game Gems, right? Game Gems really, really help you reach an experiment with the things that you normally don't like to do or you normally don't think about doing in your free time.
Yes.
To add on, the question where we actually posed it to our boss, and his reply for this is also that to stand out from the rest, you should have the passion to create art as an artist. So not to be confused with passion of what you want to do, but passion for everything. So you actually go out and you practice and you learn what it is to make art.
Yeah, I think we have more questions, but let's move on to the next slide first. I think Jen and Denice, maybe we can finish this up and then we'll go through the rest of the questions. They are in the chat right now. We've quite a few already.
Right. So the question was, how do you arrange yourselves when working in a team? And I think this ties back to what's the work life like in a studio like ours by Michael above. Most of us are artists. Like I would say 7 out of 10, I think. We like when the task comes in, I think this one Jen's better answering.
Give me a moment. So sorry, can you repeat that?
How do you arrange yourself in a team, and what's the work life like?
We're posing this to the art lead to answer.
I'm not too sure what the question actually means.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at the question. Yeah. How do you arrange yourself when working? Well, I think this is more like it's not about seating. I think the question they were asking was more like when you're in a team together, right, as an art lead or 3D artist, how is it that you arrange yourselves to work together as efficiently as possible? What kind of arrangements do you normally prefer working together? So, like we referred to the last AMA with William from Globe Productions. His general answer was more of that he really liked like working I really like working working very closely together. They always communicate, and they always just there without having to move through a lot of channels. They're like right next to each other. So this isn't about seating, but maybe more of personally, if you were to create a team, how do you create an efficient team when you're working together?
I think what William said is applicable for a lot of things because communication is really, really important if you want to get something done. So I did see someone ask about what makes a good designer. I think that's partly it as well. You need to make sure that you can communicate your ideas well, and you are keeping in contact with making sure that things are getting done properly. But I think how AD Art Descartes is um, as a company, we are technically all equal. Most of the time, it doesn't really feel equal only because some of us have like really big difference of skill and knowledge. But aside from that, when it comes to getting things done and trying to come up with ideas, we do go back into a level field. But how we want to do it, like whether how words how what would make your team work better is definitely communication. I think that's the first thing because you need to communicate if you cannot do something. You need to communicate if you don't understand something, and then you also need to communicate and make sure like, hey, I am doing this thing. Is it correct? So that stuff actually flows.
Very cool. Yeah. That's all I can say. That's all I can say in that matter. I think that's really cool. The cool perspective from a lead as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Moving on though. We'll come back to questions later in Discord. For those who are on Facebook as well, if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments. We'll come back to them later at that very end of the presentation. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else we want to talk about as well about working in the team specifically? I think we have more questions to answer, right? That I gave you ahead of time from the students as well.
One of the things I think is unique to our company, I wouldn't say unique to our company, but unique to our company size is that we do put on a lot of different hats. Let's say if a work comes in, we don't just do the art part. There's also the part where, you have to arrange the packs and make sure that they are up to standard. So we do a lot of QA on each other's stuff as well. We do QA on other vendor stuff, and everyone gets involved. There's also stuff like having to write documents. Sometimes we have to come up with instructional documents for each other. So for us, everyone gets involved. Or at some point, it's more like if you're free and you understand what's going on, you can join the task.
From Jen's side, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Not really. I mean, like basically what Denice said. Yeah, basically what Denice said.
Yeah, I think we're also getting into like the more general questions as well here that like we normally get as well. Yeah, I think I can also go with the slides if you want. Then we can go for more questions. I think this is something that a lot of people were asking very specifically as well. They wanted to know very specifically, right, Jen and Den. So Jen, you're a 3D artist in Art Descartes as well. Den, you're an art lead, right? But you also talk about how you're generalizing tasks and you swap between each other, and you're always, have the drive to, do things for each other as well. But what would you say is the biggest difference between both your roles then, right? Because I know you both do QA. We know you both check on standards as well. We also both know that you do feedback and you both do modeling and setting up, as well as 3D art. So what is the biggest difference between both of you as a lead, as a Snaps art lead versus say a 3D artist?
I don't sit in on meetings much.
I do sit in on the meetings, especially the meetings we have with Unity on the Unity side.
Hmm?
The other difference is I would have to understand what's going on everywhere. So I have to make sure to check in. So like I at least understand what everyone is doing and make sure to check in if they have problems. Um, so to help them if they are stuck, provide guidance, provide feedback. So yeah, I think that's the difference. The work we do is the same, but there's just added on responsibilities for me.
Yeah. So a lead needs to lead, while a lead needs to speak with their team essentially. Uh, yeah, I think there's two more questions also from the students before we started this, which is I'm just reading off the slides now so we can move on. How often? So you both have titles, but it also seems like sometimes your titles don't really seem. I think something the students has also noted as well is that uh, it seems like the way people think about the workload of 3D artists, again, right? They think they essentially just sit at a desk and they just make assets. But you also talk about QA, documentation, you talk about leading people, you talk about feedback, you talk about working with international clients and going to meetings. One of the questions they really had was, how often do your duties and work extend beyond, say, your given title, right? And also a second touch question they made was, does working in a smaller, high performance team mean you need to be flexible, or are you very rigorous with who has what task and who cannot do what, who can do what? I do want to add on to this as well because I don't think we actually cleared this up yet. How small is your team actually when you say that you work in a small, high performance team in Art Descartes?
Currently have 10 people,
Okay.
but we started with just four. For
Mm.
pure art, but one of us is the can joke and call him the Unity dude. So he has a lot of knowledge about Unity, and also he is. So when you talk about a tech artist, you have a tech artist that is more on the programming side, and then you have a tech artist that's more on the art side. So he's technically like a tech artist, more on the art side. So that's just how we started with just four, and then we really only started like taking in more people at the end of 2019.
Will you say you're a big team now, or will you say you're still a small team?
Um,
Small.
Small, considering we do have a few different projects that we work on. So there's only sometimes there's only like one or two people working on something.
How many projects do you say you're working at one time as a team?
It it depends. Um, our main our main client is always Unity, but it has been about two projects,
Yeah.
and then we've started taking in. So occasionally we'll see if like we can take in other stuff. So I would say now it's maybe even I would say three projects we're working on.
Ooh, yeah, that's yeah. I think for everybody's perspective, who are inside Discord as well, FB. I'm assuming you mean two. Would you say this means like two snaps asset projects at the same time? So essentially, all one project is like a whole ton of set of assets, and the other one's a whole different ton of set of assets.
Um, no, I would say that
Oh,
at this point, Snaps itself. So we we have started to be a bit more on just the feedback side for snaps, but we also do like making sure that the packs, like checking and making sure that the packs are working fine. If there's problems, we go in to fix it. So snaps is being a bit more chill on our side now, but we are actually doing two other different projects than snaps.
oh, okay. So I do want to clarify as well for those on Discord and FB. Jen and Denice are under NDA. So I'm pretty sure some of these stuff we cannot go into further details. So actually, so continue on with the rest of your with the rest of the questions, right? They did ask again. So in a small team like this, right? How often do your duties and work extend beyond your own title if you're in such a small team, right? And does working in a smaller, high-performance team mean you need to be flexible? Are you very rigorous with who does what? And I also think that they want to know, like, like how often do your duties extend beyond your own title, right? Like, you might not have a producer, you might not have a business person if you're in a very small team. So does that mean, some of you have to like carry on extra tasks or like, switch desk and title, so to speak, really, really quickly?
Sometimes, like we don't always have feedback to write, and then so like I will be working on another project, and then when the feedback comes, I have to learn to drop the other project, jump back on the feedback, send it in before a certain time, and then like get back on the back burner one, and then like deliver that on that promised time too.
There's also situations where we've also like, hey, maybe let's try something new. Let's do our own project. And every time, because we work for clients and they are who we prioritize, we'll just be like, oh, we have time. There's a little bit of a downtime. Let's go and work on our own project. And then suddenly it'll be like half a day or one day later, we're like back to the other one.
Yes.
Someone just comes to you. It's like, you have time, you should rest, and then you're just like, so you're saying I have time?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to mention is that it's actually very weird for me to have to title myself or title anyone on the team because sometimes it's just the lines are so blurry.
Oh, okay. So what exactly do you mean by that? Like, how is the line blurred for you exactly?
So for example, we do so many different things. So I refer to our boss as just boss because it's an easy way to just like, okay, I know who you are. But I like he does so many different things here. He's technically the person running the company, but he's also doing he is the one communicating the most with our clients. He is checking in on our work. He's also doing the assets. He's also um this there's just a lot of things that we could be doing at a time. So for to title him, it's very weird. And for me, it's like I am a lead artist, but I'm also doing a whole bunch of other different things. Which is the technically I'm also a 3D artist trying to get stuff done. And at some point, Jan was joking that I'm the one who goes out and talk to people and find people uh, to introduce to Joe so that it will be like, hey, would we want to take this person in for hire? So it's like
Yeah, on.
so much. So we all just do everything.
Everybody's doing everything at once, and it's a lot of things.
As long as you can take it on, you can do it.
As long as you can do it, you can do it. Yeah. I think we also have. I think that also connects on to the next one, which is that, like, about taking people in, right? Some of our students here who are non-artists, designers and programmers, they were asking how, for an artist, how can designers and programmers work better with game artists? Do you have any general tips? And who were the best people you ever worked with, and what were they like?
It's
General tip.
to
Sorry, then you go first.
mine will be short. I'll continue later. Communication's really important. You need to know how to communicate. You need to know. You need to make sure to communicate. That's a good start.
Yep, basically, that's what I was gonna say.
You heard it. You heard it here first, everybody. I think we had the same answer from William as well last week, which is that please learn to communicate and talk with your members well.
Because even if you don't know how to do stuff or you're not following the deadline anymore, you need to let someone know so that a plan can be made and you can actually accommodate for everything that's happening. So communicating is seriously the most important part. If you can't do your job, at least communicate that, and people will come in and figure out what to do.
I think Gulura is also adding a commentary and saying, just talk about your feelings. Yeah.
Feelings is one thing, but like also like try to use the language that the other party recognizes.
Mm. Yeah, like work with your team, communicate, and legitimately talk to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
prefab is a prefab, and FBX is an FBX. And you have to know the difference, kind of thing.
But yeah, please learn your technical terms.
Yes, the technical terms. Knowing your technical terms is actually really good, because if both sides understand what you're talking about, you don't get confused about what stuff you're talking about. So, for example, we could just like the model, but the model could be the FBX, or are you talking about the prefab? Are you talking about the mesh? Are you talking about the game object? So it could be anything. So you need to, if you learn how to pick up the technical terms, it would make discussions so much easier.
Yeah, I think this is also something we raised at UOWM. Like the moment you get into fundamentals game development, especially for designers, it's that your biggest skill is just communicating by, say, not just being able to work with a team, but also to understand what the heck they need from you. Yeah, and I think I think we also spoke about this earlier, but one of the best places I think that you can go through to do this, for me at least, is you can go through a game jam, and it really lets you familiarize with everybody's roles. Uh, for Jen and them, would you say that there's any thing they can do to raise these skills early on?
Game jam.
Game jam, yep, well, yep, yeah. We're all gonna say game jams. Yeah, game jams are the places you go for these skills all the time. Just go to game jams.
I think something that's really important is going in. So for us, is going in and understand how Unity works. So understanding how your game engine works. Hence why, like the moment you start understanding it, then you start picking up the technical terms, and you'll be like, oh, this makes this, that makes that. It's not the same. But most of this, I would say for us, we did pick it up when we were working, but I would say it was not necessarily a easy process. So do make sure that you at least like try to understand what it is on your own.
Yep. Brackeys is one thing, but follow along the tutorials, because I think that really, getting your hands dirty really helps in learning. Especially when you're doing it and you're repeating it, then yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's the questions for working on a team. Shall we move on? Other than talking about UWM versus going to work and working on a team, people have also been really interested in both your portfolios, right? Because I think so far, you are one of the few alumni and seniors that they know about or they've been exposed to, that work not just in a game development studio, but also work in a work with a client that they normally don't think about, which is that, normally when we talk about clients, you're working with either game development studios, or you're working for another studio, or you're working for, say, an international client or a local client that's like a company like, GSE or TGV Cinemas or any other company. But you work with Unity, which is something that I don't think the students really expected to see this time when you were featured as game dev. And they're really, really interested in what it feels like to, work with Unity, definitely. But also for Denice and Jen, I think here for both your portfolios, they were also really interested with some questions about what it's like for you to work with international clients in general, apparently.
Um, our relationship with Unity is actually a little different, I would say, with the other vendors. So um, we are technically more of an extension of our dev team. So the people we work with is actually we only work with a small part of Unity. We create content for the asset store. So we work with the asset store team. So we don't actually talk to the rest of the devs much, unless there's certain things that we need to ask them, or there's certain things that we need to bug them to make sure that our stuff works. So the same thing as usual. The way we work with Unity is that we have to communicate a lot. So we do meet up like once, now twice a week. So our role with Unity is that we would go in and we would discuss it. It's almost like a group project. We would tell them what can and cannot be done. We provide solutions. Sometimes we would come up with our own. Even like if there's a brief, if we came up with something that is different from the brief, but they think it's cool, they would also include that in. So I would say compared to another client that we briefly worked with, it's for that one, it's like you make the art assets, but they give you the brief and they're like, okay, I want it like this. So you follow the brief, and but with Unity, it's different because really our relationship with them is just not really the same. I think partly it's also because of the fact that we started with snaps and we technically created it. We set the standards. Some of the standards now also has been used for the asset store. So if you want to publish something on the asset store, you go through some of those standards as well. So yeah, that's how it mostly is with Unity.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's how will you compare Unity's culture and culture than with the other larger companies you work with? Would you say? Oh,
Mm.
I'm not super sure because at least for me, I did not have that much communication with the other company. But the way that Unity sees itself is that everyone is on a flat. It's like a flat. How do you say this? So there is no one higher than the other. So everyone is equal.
equal ground, yeah,
So
equal.
yeah.
Yeah, I was also struggling with the word for a moment. I was like,
So um, I guess it's interesting because it's more like what do you know, what can you bring to the table, it's not about, oh, this is your job, so you only do this, and you probably don't have the expertise. But technically, anyone can go in and be like, maybe this would be better. I have a solution for this part, or maybe you could do something really cool. So yeah, the other thing as well that we were asked is that if there's a huge difference between working on art assets for a game engine or a larger company compared to a conventional game publishing company. I think what's different is the assets that we make. So our assets go to the public. So that means, again, I've answered this question before. Essentially, we have to make sure that it's up to a certain standard, like the file naming and the folder structures, and also the usability. So that is probably what's a bit more different, and we do go through a bit more vigorous QA than a typical developer.
yeah. Jen, do you have any perspectives you want to share on this then?
I have a good analogy for what we do at the like these asset packs. So like designing, imagine you're making a bench or a chair kind of thing. Disneyland needs chair, and that's your AAA studios. But like IKEA sells chairs too, and we're basically like giving you like hackable parts that you can like kind of like custom make your own chair.
Oh yeah, actually that actually does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're IKEA, and everybody loves IKEA. Yeah, game developers love IKEA. Heck yeah.
So yeah, we're basically selling like IKEA, not Disneyland chairs, but IKEA chairs.
Yeah, and that's equally valid as well because the IKEA chairs are definitely selling really well and they're doing a lot of good work. Yeah. Let's see. Give me a moment. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're almost pretty much done. I think we're almost done.
Oh yeah, we are almost.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done with the presentations. Are we done? Yeah, we are done with the presentations. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jen and Denice. Yeah. Oh, we have the two pictures there. So, oh, look at them. Oh,
Uh,
I did want to ask: is that your boss or are those people from Unity?
I'm on the far right. So we were invited to go to their hack week in Copenhagen, and
Oh.
yeah, so the person next to me is the producer from Unity that we work closely with, and then our boss is the one dancing on the pole.
Ah, yes. Yes. Truly a wonderful boss.
Yeah, so
Cool.
it's interesting experience, and I guess it's interesting opportunities. I would have never expected to be able to visit the Copenhagen office.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think people might be interested as well. Like, what was it like to visit the Copenhagen offices for you? Your experiences wise over there.
The office in Copenhagen is huge. It's freaking huge. And when we visited, there was also like I think they were there's just a lot of space. I don't think everything was occupied yet. The building itself was an old post office, and then they took over to expand to they took over the next door. It was a bank, but um the entire place was just really open and really it looks pretty modern, even though it's made from it was they took over older buildings, and the it's just like a dream office, seriously. And then you get like free lunches, which the chefs would come and they'll cook, and then everyone gets to eat from the buffet. They even have stuff like vegetarian meals, vegetarian specific meals. They have like all these seating areas. Um there was this one safe, this giant safe that they decided to just convert it into a single person sitting room, and I was just like, what's going on?
Oh my God! Somebody sits in a vault.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone in Discord is probably gonna say how cool it is. Yep. Yep. We're seeing people calling it cool already. Yep. Amazing. Awesome. Yeah. Cool.
And
I think. Oh yes.
they also have like like a huge amount of meeting rooms, because from what I understand, they just have meetings so much. So they have all the meeting rooms so you can just like book and stuff, and oh, just really cool experience.
Yeah, I think I actually have a question in tangent, right? I think this is specific for Jen as well. Because Jen, your portfolio actually includes you working with places like TGV cinemas, Southern Pictures, etc., etc. I
Right.
think this is more for you then. What has the difference been like for you to work with with international clients versus say working with Unity?
Uh, Honestly, even though like Den says like we're all equals, I'm a bit vertically challenged.
Oh, yeah, that's a mood. That is a mood. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I see the needs.
You see the D's. Oh no. You see the world from the perspective of somebody who knows what it's like down there. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
In a sense of sorry, last one. Just in a sense of delivery, it's kind of the same. They give you a premise on like what they want. They give you a budget, and then you just work within that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is there a big difference then between Unity and the other international clients? Or do they operate almost the same? Like give a budget, work with a budget, and then submit.
You have to know what they are, what the end product that they want. So like for Unity, it's like something is a art pack that somebody can go in and make their own levels and hack it kind of thing. But then like something with like TGV is like they want their mascots going around and like the people to know what's going on in the cinemas kind of thing. And so like you have to know the kind of premise that they are operating under and what they expect from you, and then deliver specifically on that.
So you could say that like they're both flexible in different ways with different quotas then, right? Would you say that? And different purposes as well, I'm assuming immediately.
Purposes as in?
Different purposes, right? Because your asset store wants you to build stuff for very different user that wants to use them for very flexible means, while working with TGV means that you're trying to immediately let your mascots do the thing that they hire you to do, basically.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I should clarify like the four things that I've mentioned in the so Sony Pictures, TGV, Old Town, and Legoland are before I came into game dev.
Yeah, I think we can also talk about that in additional questions. Now that we're kind of off already. I don't.
Alright.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this openly to everybody. I don't know whether we're gonna have DPS today because we've extended the AMA. We might not have DPS today. We might have it next week instead if everybody's okay with that. Would everybody like to go through more additional questions? I think I'll delay DPS into next week in that case. Is everybody okay with that? Jen and Denice, are you okay with staying and answering more questions?
I don't mind. Let's see what the crowd says.
Yep. Okay. Michael saying yes, yes. Okay. I'm assuming everyone's gonna say yes. Everybody, please say yes if you want us to stay and keep on doing questions, and then I'll delay DPS to the next week instead. Okay. Hong, if you're still here, it's going to be delayed to the next week. Yep. Yeah. Hong, are you still here? Hong. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I think I'm just delay. Yep. Okay. I think I'm gonna delay our developers present stuff to the next week lah. Hong, you're gonna present about broccoli, right? I think we're gonna have to do broccoli and food next week. If you're okay with that. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much, Hong. Yeah, I think also. So Mr. Sherm was gonna today talk about anime and food, which I guess will be for next week then. For those who are here in the Facebook, on the Facebook and the Discord, we'll be doing our developers present stuff, which is our presentation segment. In next week, we might make some changes. I think because I think the GameDev AMAs might become their own thing now every single week. Yeah. Okay, let's go through some additional questions, and then we can go through everything. Okay, let's go through some questions. Let's do some Facebook questions first then. I think some of these have actually already been answered already, but let's go through them regardless. Ivan Smith asked, what type of game assets do you produce? For Jen and Dan, you did say you produce Snaps prototype assets, but you also spoke about you do new projects now. Without bumping into NDA, what kind of game assets do you or work do you usually produce in Art Descartes outside of, say, Snaps?
3D assets.
3D assets. That's all you can say, yeah? That's all you can say, yeah? Yep, 3D assets.
I guess what I could say different from Snaps is that we're not just making low poly stuff, so a bit of texturing, working with some existing projects. So just stay tuned, I guess. Perhaps
I can hear that there's a 40-page contract behind this sentence going on.
So we shall see. It should come out at some point.
Yep.
Maybe this year.
Pay attention to Art Descartes, and then you'll see more things come out. Yep. We're gonna move on before I accidentally breach a contract in the name of the university. Let's not do that. Travis Pham asked, how much did the recent virus outbreak affect the university? I'm gonna say how much did the pandemic? How much has the pandemic affected the industry from your perspective? So maybe your company or your own work with other people. How much has the pandemic affected you and your team and your industry?
So because we're fairly small, I would say that we did not have to go through how the other companies, like bigger companies, where they have to start letting people go. We don't have that problem because we've kept pretty small. But work-wise, now we have all started working from home. We are not in a rush to go back to the office because we're more cautious. And our boss is also high risk. Sometimes it sounds kind of funny, but it is true. So we are a bit more cautious with how things are, and likely to continue working from home for a bit longer than other companies, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say communication has become pretty tricky. You get so tired of typing all the time.
That's a mood. Yeah, I think a lot. I think like a lot of people on Discord can also feel the same as well. Actually, I think the students might have a different opinion on what it's like to do teamwork now. now that they're all gone online, now that all their lectures online as well. Yeah. Jen, what about you then? How do you feel things have changed since the pandemic?
Basically, what Den says.
Yeah, just more
Yeah.
meetings and people are tired of typing. Yeah.
So two things we seem to have resolved to doing is that when the other person's not getting a message, just call them.
Oh no. So I think there's also a caveat. I think they will be interested in learning, right? Because I think we spoke about it with our previous AMA. What kind of tools do you use currently to help with, say, going online with your work and doing remote work? Do you still go into office as well?
No, we don't. We've all been working from home since the pandemic happened. We use a lot of screenshot sharing tools because like everyone has kind of like get like when you're trying to troubleshoot something, you can't always like explain it all in text.
Mhm.
Sometimes if you send a picture and just highlight a certain points that like this is happening, why is this happening?
Yeah, I think it really showcases how physical like game development can actually be. The idea that you can walk to someone else's screen is really useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we miss those times. Arjun Ajay Pillai. I hope I'm saying your name properly, Arjun. Is Snap's assets used for the purposes of asset placement? I will immediately say yes, according to the slides that we just went through. And it gets replaced as well with HD assets later on if you want to. Travis Pham, how do you resolve a situation where everyone has a different opinion on a solution? I think this goes definitely to both Jen and Denice. How do you resolve a situation and when everybody has a different opinion on a solution? Not everybody can agree, or everybody is like trying to figure out what to do, but everybody has a different opinion.
I think the usual one, and I think Jen might agree as well. Um, because we have someone who's so much more knowledgeable than the rest of us, if something goes wrong and we cannot come to a solution, we would go, "Hey, this is happening. What do we do?" And we would be the situation would be explained to both sides, and then we would get our answer, or at least we would just be like, maybe this is the way to do it, or maybe we should be testing it. So it's never about whose opinion is right, but which one is better or correct.
So would you say you either default to an expert or you essentially just test your solution to see which one's better, lah?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Throwing this to students as well. If you ever have a problem, you gotta test it out. Let's go through some Discord questions. This one is going to be very interesting for I think both Jen and Denice to say, and then there might be NDA, so you can say you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. A bit on the money side, how would you a bit on the monetary side? How do you have any advice when you go and ask for your starting wages as a junior developer? I think there's more on negotiation skills, maybe. So on the monetary side, how should you ask for your starting wages as a junior developer? I think we can go further and say, like what's a healthy amount to ask as the first, first wage, as well as how do you ask for your wages as a developer?
I think it depends on the company that you are asking from. So some companies would have it set unless I think most companies would have something set because junior artists. Um, but in some companies, it could be a bit flexible. Um, I would say, for example, if someone really values you and you are facing financial difficulties and the company is flexible, you could explain how things are, and they might actually bump up your salary or maybe give you certain benefits if you need it.
Yeah, Jen, do you have anything you want to say about that then?
I am a terrible negotiator.
Oh no! Oh, that's a mood. That's a mood though. Yeah. Do you have any tips though to share beyond maybe negotiating? Like how will you ask for your starting wages as a person who's just gone into the industry?
I think this. I was given this advice a long time ago. Your whatever the starting salary you are, the first increase should be 25%.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people can agree with. If you're gonna go for an increase, you should definitely go for a sizable one. Uh, you know, you're worth something. Know your worth. Yeah. I think from Jeremy again, in a smaller development team, does a programmer? I think I'm just going to include designer. Does a programmer designer also contribute to other things? Such as animating sprites or doing stuff that's on the art side. In a small team. Do you have designers and programmers who also like work on tasks that are traditionally art then?
Our programmer, most of his tasks, is like the main tasks he has that's related to our work is actually tool building. So there's certain processes, it's really tedious and it takes a long time. You can actually just automate everything. So it's just a few clicks of a button and then your task is done instead of having to sit there and do everything one by one. So programmers, for us, your worth is in tools.
Please make us more things to make things easier. Please.
Yeah, but it also
Um,
means that like he had to go learn what steps we had to do to get to the end product. So he had to actually like do one of the packs or two by himself, and then like see where are the repetitive parts.
Yeah, and I think this also goes back to something we spoke about just now, right? Like, if you really want to work well with artists on your team, you need to learn what you're doing as well. You need to know what your duties are. You need to learn about what your duties are, so you can actually help them with their duties. I'm gonna stop saying duties now because it sounds a bit weird. Let me see if I can find more questions on the UWM game development page, which, by the way, you can all go and visit on Facebook. Uh, that's just
to
that's just,
to
yes.
add on, I would say that the best designers or like programmers who understand what someone needs, let's say an artist, is really if you go in and you really understand what they're going through. You know what they need to do. You know what they need to what type of processes they have to go through, and actually being able to critically think like what can be fixed, what would make this faster. And those are the if you can provide those type of solutions, it's like awesome because um the person who started making tools in the first place and the person who obviously wanted tools to be made is our big tech artist guy. So when it comes to his task as a tech artist, is also creating tools to streamline processes so you don't take so long doing stuff that shouldn't take so long to do.
Yeah, just learn the processes so you can really help speed things up to get everybody. Yeah, I will go as far as to say, maybe try and do stuff that is outside of your stream, and understand what the process feels like sometimes. Yeah. Any more questions? I think we're almost out of questions. I'm gonna look one more time inside Facebook and see if anybody's written anything. But in the meantime, for Discord, do you all have any questions? Please put them in immediately. Or maybe we'll end this, or we'll end this up, and then we'll have had a great time with Jen and Denice in here in the talk. Any more comments? Any more questions, everybody? Anybody? Hello, 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 hello. Anybody? Oh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Uh, I think I'm gonna ask Boone as well. Boone, can you help me check? Boone, if you're here, can you help me check if there's any more questions? I don't see any questions on Facebook, but you might have received something different. I'm seeing a few people typing, so we may have a few more things remaining. As a art lead, I think this also applies to. I don't know whether this might apply to Chen as well, but I think there's an open question. As an art lead or an artist, do you prefer managerial stuff or creating 3D art?
Both
Yeah,
both
both.
has
Both.
both has situations where they stress me out, but um but I think I would say creating 3D art because that's what I wanted to do. um I had to grow into the art lead role, because of because I understand how snaps work the most compared to the rest. But I would say both of them, at least in my position, both of them aren't bad. But I would prefer to work on the art side.
Yeah, I think in the future we can even call up workshops where this is just me openly saying it. You can say no later on, Denise. Feels like social blackmail a little bit, but I think next time we can definitely call back Denise to do Snaps workshops and call in Jen as well to talk about 3D art more as well for the students, if you're both okay with that. You don't need to answer right now. I know it feels like social blackmail, but yeah, don't answer that. That's just me talking. Yeah. Jen, do you have anything you want to talk about in terms of whether you would prefer do managerial stuff or doing 3D art? Because I know you worked with international clients before, right? So would you prefer doing just 3D art, or would you prefer doing managerial stuff?
I don't do managerial stuff professionally, so I don't think doing it for
Are there non-art duties that you find enjoyment in outside of 3D art?
I like the process of making things. So like anything goes.
Yeah, but because in your portfolio as well, I think we know that you're also not just an illustrator and a artist. You're also a designer, right? You've done stuff for board games as well as escape rooms, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, maybe?
Okay. What do you want to know?
Eddie, what was okay? Maybe what was the most interesting non-art thing you've ever done in your career so far as a both an artist as a designer as well?
Non-art thing. I used to manage mascot talents in my one of my previous companies.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay, that's really interesting.
So like when say Astro is actually launching say penguins for in Bahasa Melayu for local Astro kind of thing, we the previous company would then bring in the DreamWorks version of penguins, official mascots, and then it will be my task to take care of them while they're in Malaysia.
Oh my god! You take care. Wait. Do you mean you take care of the mascot actors, or do you like are they like sentient beings that you take care of?
No. The company has a pool of talent that wears the mascots.
Oh wow! Okay.
I just take care of the mascots themselves.
Oh.
So like make sure the like fur doesn't fray. I have to make sure that the wiring is always in check, kind of thing.
Do you think that has helped you with your current career? Do you still find relevant those kind of job experiences that before you came into your current career?
The most useful thing across all my current careers would be checklists.
Documentation, yes.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. Please learn to do documentation. Always learn. Yeah, I think we're out of questions already. Facebook doesn't have any more questions according to Boone, and nobody on Discord has any more questions. I think I'm gonna count down for 10, and then if not, no more questions. We're just gonna close up the stream. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Oh, Alex is typing. 2, 1. Alex, thank you, Denise and Jen, for this talk. Yeah, I think that's
Thank you
pretty
for
much
having
it.
us.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen and Denise, for coming here today to do this GameDev AMA with us. It was an amazing time with you both. And we spoke with like for 2 hours about this. This has been amazing. And from UOWM KDU, thank you very much for coming to our weekly to our weekly Developers Lepak Circle. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences and your careers. It's been an amazing time. Yeah. Denise, you may have cut a little bit.
Oh.
I assume. Yes.
Thank you, Van, for inviting us, and
Thank you for coming in as well.
Miss Eng. She was the one who actually first approached us. So like, thank you for the opportunity there.
Thank you so much, Miss Ying Ying, for connecting us with Denise and Jen as well. Yeah, I'm gonna do maybe a small news read with our final words. I'm gonna say our developers present stuff will be happening instead on the next week instead of today. So look forward to that next week. You'll be seeing lecturers and students presenting about food. One of us is going to present about anime and food. I'm going to be presenting about why tomato eggs is awesome, and one of our students, Hong, is going to be presenting about why broccoli is scientifically gross to a lot of people. So that's something you can all look forward to. In the meantime, this has been Developers Lepak Circle, and this has been our GameDev AMA with Jan Wong and Denice Heng from Art Descartes. Thank you very much as well to Art Descartes for allowing them to be here. I assume that Art Descartes was consulted, maybe not. And thank you for all your great work on Unity and the great things that you shared today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. I don't really know how to close these things usually. If you're all interested in UOWM's game development program, come check us out. Right, we're doing online classes throughout the pandemic, and it's been a great time. And we teach game development. If you're interested, you can consult with our lecturers or messages on Facebook, or go to our university page and check us out and come into the course. I don't know what else to say at the end of these things. So thank you very much for coming, everybody. We're gonna turn off the stream now. Boone, please cut the stream before I say anything more. Please, Boone, save us.